Forget normal office drama. We've dug up the kind of employee complaints that HR departments try to bury. These aren't just grievances, they are certified masterpieces of delusion. Today, we're counting down 101 of the absolute dumbest complaints ever filed in America. Your faith in humanity will not survive this. 1. HR once received a complaint that was truly out of this world. An employee who claimed to be psychic insisted her deskmate's thoughts were too loud. She said his silent brainstorming was giving her actual migraines. Imagine trying to write a company policy for that. 2. A company offered free bagels on Fridays. A generous move. But one employee lodged a formal complaint. The bagels, he argued, were not from his preferred organic, artisanal bakery. The sheer audacity of complaining about free food is a level of entitlement that almost deserves respect. 3. The lighting in here is an assault on my personal brand. That's a real quote from a real employee email. He demanded they replace the standard office lights to suit his personal color palette. Would you even know how to respond to that? Because I'm speechless. 4. In Talkeetna, Alaska, the honorary mayor was a cat named Stubbs. And this being America, of course someone filed a workplace complaint against him. The charges included excessive napping and an unprofessional demeanor. They filed a formal grievance against a cat for acting like a cat. 5. Imagine filing a grievance for being passed over for a promotion. Now, imagine you never even applied for it. That's exactly what one employee did. His argument? The company should have just known he wanted the job. A bold strategy, to say the least. 6. Here's a real dilemma for human resources. A male employee complains his new colleague is too attractive. He says it's a major distraction. It's making it impossible for him to work. His solution, not self-control. He wanted management to move her. 7. The IT help desk got a ticket for maliciously cheerful mouse clicking. Yes, really. An employee was convinced his upbeat coworker was mocking his heavy workload with every single click. The IT guy had to go listen, then officially report back, "It's a mouse. It clicks." Case closed. 8. Forget coworkers stealing your lunch. This guy's problem was a ghost. He gave a detailed description of the spectral thief and demanded that HR investigate. Their official advice: use a different fridge. Honestly, if a ghost can operate a modern refrigerator, it has earned that sandwich. 9. Should your company pay for your fashion mistakes? One employee thought so. The internal weather forecast predicted light showers. It became a downpour. He didn't just complain about his ruined suede shoes. He submitted an official expense report for a new pair. A true pioneer in corporate accountability. 10. And to wrap up this first batch, a complaint was lodged against a coworker for breathing. Not just breathing. The official report stated it was deliberately provocative. They were asking HR to issue a formal warning against someone's basic biological functions. Let that sink in for a moment. 11. An HR department was forced to mediate a conflict about a coworker being too nice. An employee filed a formal report against her colleague for being aggressively friendly. She claimed his constant good mornings and positive attitude were a form of psychological warfare. 12. Some people climb the corporate ladder. Others just complain about the vocabulary on the way up. An employee filed a grievance against his manager for using words in emails that were too complex. He actually requested that a glossary of terms be attached to all future communications. 13. Can you file a complaint about a vibe? Apparently, in one office, you absolutely can. A man complained his vegan coworker had a smug aura that was negatively affecting office morale. No specific actions or words were cited. Just the aura. 14. The company upgraded to new eco-friendly toilets. A win for the environment. But a loss for one employee, who complained they flushed with unnecessary aggression. He described the experience in the official report as both startling and disrespectful. 15. You'd think a fun team-building event is a clear win, right? Well, one office worker filed a complaint the very next day. His reasoning? The event was too enjoyable and set an unrealistic standard for happiness that the actual workday could never possibly meet. 16. An employee demanded a full meeting with the facilities department. The urgent issue? The color of the office carpet was, in his words, emotionally draining. His suggested solution was not a joke. He wanted it replaced with a more spiritually uplifting shade of beige. 17. This has to be one of the most bizarre reasons for a productivity dip. An employee complained that his desk mate looked too much like the actor Ryan Reynolds. He claimed the resemblance was so distracting, it was hurting his performance and asked if management could ask the coworker to tone it down. 18. During the holidays, a complaint was filed about decorations. It wasn't about religion. It was about a co-worker's display of miniature elves, which were cited as a problematic depiction of a marginalized magical community. Yes, someone was advocating for elf rights in a corporate setting. 19. Should your company pay for your hair emergencies? One employee thought so. When rain ruined his carefully styled pompadour, he submitted an expense report for urgent salon intervention and argued the weather forecast hadn't warned him. A true pioneer in corporate vanity. 20. An employee lodged a formal complaint against a new hire on their second day. The issue wasn't performance. It was that the new hire's name was too difficult to pronounce. She suggested that for the sake of team harmony, the new employee should consider adopting a simpler, more American-sounding name. 21. A CEO sent out weekly motivational emails meant to inspire the team. One employee complained they were creating a culture of toxic positivity. He claimed the uplifting messages were actually giving him performance anxiety. He filed a complaint against being motivated. 22. A complaint was filed against the office's friendliest employee. Her crime? She was a hugger. The complainant specified he wasn't anti-hugging, but that her hugs were structurally unsound and lacked proper ergonomic support. He analyzed the physics of a hug to file a complaint. 23. An employee won $50 in the office lottery pool, a nice little bonus. He then complained that the coworker who handed him the cash didn't do it with enough celebratory enthusiasm. He was literally upset about the way he was given free money. 24. The office manager added some nice plants to liven up the space. A week later, a complaint landed on her desk. An employee claimed the ficus tree near her cubicle was staring at her judgmentally, and she could feel its disapproving energy. 25. The vending machine ran out of Diet Coke. An inconvenience, sure. But for one employee, it was a crisis. He filed a formal HR complaint claiming that the lack of his preferred caffeinated beverage constituted an unsafe working condition. A true champion for workplace safety. 26. A manager was reported to HR not for her actions, but for her email signature. An employee filed a formal complaint that her uplifting quote was oppressively optimistic and created undue pressure to be happy throughout the workday. 27. Parking spots are a classic office battleground. But one intern took it to a new level. He complained his assigned spot didn't adequately reflect his value to the company. He didn't ask for a closer spot. He asked for a more prestigious one. He was an intern, on his third day. 28. Here's a new one for the books. A complaint was filed against a coworker for consistently wearing neutral colors. The complainant, a graphic designer, argued that this visual monotony was stifling her creativity and demanded he adopt a more vibrant wardrobe for the sake of the team. 29. Get this. A worker complained his colleague's stapling was too crisp and authoritative. He wasn't joking. He claimed it was a nonverbal power move designed to assert dominance over their shared cubicle space. He was lodging a complaint against a well-functioning office supply. 30. A company installed standing desks for a few employees. A win for wellness, right? Nope. A sitting employee complained his standing coworker was flaunting his superior posture and literally looking down on him. His proposed solution? The company should either buy him a periscope or make the other guy sit down. 31. An employee filed a formal grievance against his boss for using the phrase, "let's circle back." He claimed it gave him literal dizziness and geometric anxiety. You have to admire the creativity of inventing a medical condition to get out of a follow-up meeting. 32. We all know about complaints regarding smelly food in the office microwave. But this one had a twist. The complaint wasn't just about the microwaved fish. It was that the owner of the fish was enjoying it too openly and unapologetically. The report suggested he should eat his lunch with an appropriate level of shame. 33. A worker demanded hazard pay. Not for physical danger, but because he believed the office Wi-Fi signal was being used by aliens to read his thoughts. As proof, he submitted a blurry photo of a bird, which he claimed was one of their surveillance drones. 34. After a new Casual Friday policy was announced, one employee arrived in a full suit of medieval armor. His defense when sent to HR: the memo never specified which historical period was off-limits for casual wear. A brilliant act of malicious compliance. 35. An employee complained that her office birthday celebration was ruined. The reason? The cake was a square. She was, in her words, a circle person, and she found the cake's aggressive angles to be a personal and deeply offensive statement. 36. A complaint was filed against a colleague's screensaver. It wasn't just the beach. The complainant said the image of crystal-clear water and sunny skies was mocking his dad bod and undermining his self-confidence. HR was asked to replace it with something less judgmental. 37. The company gave everyone a free, branded water bottle. How could that go wrong? An employee complained that it was too hydrating. His logic was that it encouraged him to drink so much water that his frequent bathroom breaks were now lowering his overall productivity. 38. A new low in personal space invasion complaints. An employee claimed his office mate was using too much oxygen. He insisted the other guy was a mouth breather who was depleting the room's resources and suggested HR install a personal oxygen meter at their desks. 39. An employee complained that the new security badge system was an unnecessary burden on his wrist. He didn't want to swipe his card to open doors. He demanded a personal biometric retinal scanner, or, failing that, a full-time doorman to be assigned exclusively to him. 40. And to finish this round on a high note of paranoia, a woman reported her office plant to HR. The charge? Espionage. She claimed its leaves would turn slightly towards her whenever she was about to miss a deadline, and she was certain it was spying on her for management. 41. In the world of modern office politics, even the stars aren't safe. A complaint was filed against a team leader because her zodiac sign, a Scorpio, was inherently untrustworthy and created a negative astrological influence on the project. Zodiac incompatibility. 42. The war on office sounds takes a new turn. A formal grievance was lodged against a coworker for aggressive typing. The complainant insisted the speed and force of the keystrokes were a deliberate act of intimidation. Every email, a declaration of war. 43. Here's a new entry for the HR Hall of Fame. A request to replace the break room microwave because its end-of-cycle beep was patronizingly cheerful. The employee felt it was mocking his bland, microwavable lunch. The humanity. 44. A complaint born entirely in the remote work era. An employee claimed his manager's dog, visible only on Zoom calls, was giving him disapproving looks. He felt this was undermining his confidence during team meetings. He was complaining about a dog on a screen. 45. Can a piece of furniture be hostile? One worker thought so. He complained the rectangular conference table was inherently confrontational and demanded it be replaced with a round one to foster more holistic collaboration. King Arthur would be proud. 46. Who knew a motivational poster could be so demotivating? A grievance was filed because the office's Climb Every Mountain poster used the Comic Sans font, which the employee described as an insult to both graphic design and personal ambition. Font matters. 47. A formal noise complaint was filed about a coworker's squeaky shoes. But it wasn't just the noise. The complainant noted the squeak's erratic and unpredictable rhythm was causing him severe anxiety. The squeaky wheel gets the grievance. 48. A new level of workplace pettiness was unlocked. An employee complained that the latest Employee of the Month winner didn't deserve the award because all of her good deeds were clearly performative and designed for recognition. No good deed goes unpunished. 49. The break room drama continues. This time, the complaint was about the water cooler. An employee was outraged that the company had switched from ethically sourced local spring water to a generic, soulless filtration system. Priorities. 50. An employee filed a complaint against the company's corporate jargon. He argued the lack of seafaring metaphors in emails was stifling his sense of adventure. He even suggested replacing meeting invites with ship's logs. Full steam ahead. 51. You're not going to believe this one. An employee complained that his desk mate's shadow kept falling on his workspace in the afternoon. He called it light theft and demanded compensation for the lost lumens. I've got nothing. 52. A manager was told to rein in his direct report's beard. The official complaint? The beard was too perfectly sculpted and was making the other men in the department feel inadequate about their own facial hair. Beard shaming. 53. Let's talk workplace safety. One employee demanded that all office paper be laminated to prevent paper cuts. He called it an unacceptable laceration risk and submitted a 4-page proposal on its implementation. A true safety champion. 54. An employee lodged a grievance against the office wall clock. He called it steady ticking, an oppressive reminder of mortality, and requested HR install a digital clock that counts backward, so he could feel younger every hour. Time well spent. 55. And a shocking display of main character syndrome. One of 2 employees named Dave demanded that the other Dave change his name. The reason? To avoid brand confusion within the department. He did not get it. 56. The office thermostat wars entered a new metaphysical dimension. A complaint was filed not about the temperature, but about the sound the AC made. The employee described it as a disappointed sigh that was killing his motivation. He was complaining about the air conditioner's feelings. 57. A company-wide software update introduced a new program icon. The complaint wasn't about the functionality, it was about the color scheme. An employee claimed it was hostile to his desktop aesthetic and demanded a custom version. A true digital visionary. 58. Imagine getting an HR complaint about your vacation photos. That's what happened. A coworker complained that his colleagues' photos were excessively epic. He argued that seeing them made the office feel unbearably mundane, and it was a form of psychological cruelty. The audacity. 59. Turns out, even ice cubes aren't safe from corporate scrutiny. The break room freezer became a conflict zone because the ice was crescent-shaped, not square. An employee insisted it melted asymmetrically and ruined the structural integrity of his iced tea. A crisis of physics. 60. You know that coworker who uses too many exclamation points? One employee decided to make it official. He claimed his manager's overuse of them in emails created a culture of forced enthusiasm. It was a formal complaint against punctuation itself. 61. The marketing department got a grievance against the company's own logo. An employee argued that a curve in the design was mathematically imperfect and caused him deep spiritual unrest. Because obviously, corporate enlightenment starts with the letterhead. 62. A complaint was lodged against an employee's laugh. Not for being too loud, but for being tonally ambiguous. The report claimed it was impossible to know if he was genuinely happy or being sarcastic. They wanted HR to literally analyze his laugh. 63. A man complained that the painted lines for his parking spot were at a subtly incorrect angle. He wasn't saying it was too small. He argued it caused him daily psychological distress to park improperly. Apparently, his car demands perfect geometry. 64. The company swapped junk food for healthy snacks. A week later, a complaint. It wasn't about the lack of chips. It was about a coworker's relentless and aggressive apple crunching. Who knew healthy eating could sound so hostile? 65. A tech company hired a new data guru. An official complaint was filed almost immediately. The claim? The title was culturally insensitive to actual spiritual gurus. The irony that he was complaining about the title guru was completely lost on him. 66. Get this. An employee complained his desk mate's recent success was demotivating. He argued that it set an unattainably high bar for mediocrity and was making everyone else look bad. He was filing a grievance against competence itself. 67. A manager was reported to HR for wearing shoes that were too new. The employee claimed the pristine footwear was a clear display of status that created an unspoken power imbalance. He was literally offended by his boss's shopping habits. 68. A complaint was filed demanding all one-hour meetings be scheduled for 58 minutes. The reasoning: ending on the hour was too abrupt and emotionally jarring. Apparently, 2 minutes is all it takes to recover from the trauma of a meeting. 69. An employee claimed her manager was showing favoritism. The proof? A coworker's desk plant was thriving while hers was wilting. She was certain the manager was secretly watering the other plant at night. The Great Plant Conspiracy. 70. And to cap this section off, a complaint about the office carpet. An employee became convinced its pattern contained a hidden, repeating image of a sad face. He claimed it was subliminally programming the entire office for failure. Case closed. 71. Ever been stuck on hold with your own company? One employee was, and he filed a complaint. Not because of the wait time, because the hold music was too catchy, and it got stuck in his head, destroying his focus for the rest of the day. A productivity killer, one smooth jazz solo at a time. 72. The humble pen clicker. A classic office annoyance. But one grievance took it to a conspiracy level. The employee claimed his deskmate's clicking pattern matched the rhythm of a song he hates. He was convinced it was a targeted psychological attack. Every click, a personal insult. 73. You'd think the abstract art in the lobby would be safe from complaints. You'd be wrong. An employee demanded a painting be removed because it looked vaguely like his disapproving father. He said it was giving him performance anxiety. Art therapy, HR style. 74. Here's a complaint against wellness itself. An employee claimed his coworker, who brought elaborate healthy salads for lunch, was food-shaming everyone else's burgers and pizza. He wasn't saying she said anything. Her food was just too virtuous. 75. Get this. A manager was reported for sighing at the end of a long, difficult meeting. The employee who filed the report interpreted it as a passive-aggressive commentary on his personal contributions. The sigh heard round the HR department. 76. Apparently, you can't even smell nice anymore. A coworker's cologne was the subject of a formal complaint because it was distractingly pleasant. The employee said he kept trying to identify the scent notes instead of focusing on his spreadsheets. A flagrant violation of productivity. 77. A new front in the cubicle wars has opened. Aggressive organization. An employee complained her deskmate's perfectly aligned pens and neatly stacked papers were a silent judgment on her own creative chaos. She was officially complaining about tidiness. 78. Turns out, knowing too much is now a workplace hazard. An employee complained his deskmate knew too many trivia facts. He claimed the constant stream of "did you know?" was filling his brain with useless information. His proposed solution? A department-wide no fun facts policy. 79. Having a window seat is a privilege, right? Not for this guy. He complained his view of a beautiful park was too idyllic and made him long for freedom, which in turn made him resent his job. He requested blinds that could not be opened. Ever. 80. The office kitchen sponge. A known battlefield. But this grievance was unique. A formal complaint that the sponge was always wet, which the employee found deeply and spiritually unsettling. He didn't offer to change it. He just complained about its state of being. 81. You know that free company hoodie you got? An employee complained the company's brand color, a cheerful orange, clashed with his personal aura. He didn't just complain. He submitted a bill for energetic realignment therapy. 82. We've had complaints about loud breathing. Now, get ready for the opposite. A report was filed against an employee for being unnervingly silent. His colleague claimed the quietness was suspicious, and he was definitely plotting something. A formal grievance against introversion. 83. A brave soul decided to take on corporate jargon itself. He filed a grievance every single time his manager said the phrase, "Let's touch base." He claimed it was devoid of meaning and an affront to the English language. He also included a list of preferred, more literal alternatives. 84. The battle for the perfect office chair took a spiritual turn. An employee claimed his chair, despite being fully ergonomic, was not aligned with his body's natural ley lines. He requested a corporate-funded feng shui consultation for his cubicle. 85. And to finish this batch on a truly epic note, a complaint was filed against a coworker for saying, "Happy Monday." The complainant argued the phrase was a demonstrably false statement and a form of gaslighting the entire office into pretending they enjoyed the start of the week. A formal complaint against optimism. 86. The humble office stapler became a source of contention. A formal complaint was filed because a new, heavy-duty model stapled documents with unnecessary finality. The employee claimed it made his reports feel intimidatingly permanent. 87. You know you've reached peak office politics when someone complains about how a coworker walks. A grievance was filed because a colleague's walking pace was too rhythmic and confident, creating an auditory distraction that was impossible to ignore. A complaint against footsteps. 88. Turns out, not even the sky is safe. An employee filed a complaint that the gloomy weather outside his office window was an unapproved atmospheric event that was negatively impacting his mood. He suggested HR should have a contingency plan for bad weather, like mood lighting or mandatory group stretching. 89. A complaint was lodged against a new computer monitor for being aggressively bright. The employee described the experience as staring into the sun of a dying star and claimed it was a deliberate attempt by IT to assert technological dominance. 90. How long can a person's success be held against them? Apparently, for a while. A complaint was filed against a top performer for a project he completed 2 years ago. The complainant said he was still haunted by the legacy of that achievement, and it was discouraging new ideas. 91. Welcome to the world of curated water cooler talk. An employee complained his team's small talk was intellectually shallow. He submitted a list of approved topics, including Kantian ethics and quantum entanglement. Sports talk was strictly forbidden. 92. The font wars continue. A complaint was filed because the company's official font was Times New Roman. The employee argued it was too authoritative and unapproachable, and suggested switching to something more collaborative and emotionally available, like papyrus. 93. This one is a masterpiece of self-awareness, or a complete lack of it. An employee complained the bathroom mirror was too realistic and high definition. He claimed it was damaging his self-esteem right before important meetings. He wanted a softer focus mirror installed. 94. You've heard of complaints about bad posture. This was a complaint about good posture. A worker claimed his desk mate's consistently perfect upright posture was a form of postural arrogance that made everyone else feel like a slouching peasant. 95. A manager encouraged his team to think outside the box. An employee filed a formal grievance. His argument? The manager had never clearly defined the dimensions of the box in the first place, making the request vague and philosophically unsound. He had a point. A terrible, terrible point. 96. An employee complained that her relentlessly optimistic coworker was a threat to departmental realism. She claimed her colleague's sunny disposition was not reflective of current market realities and was creating a dangerous sense of false security. 97. This might be the most specific tech complaint of all time. An employee reported his desk mate's mouse cursor speed was erratic and anxious. He claimed he could feel the coworker's stress transferring to him via the pixels, and it was ruining his zen. 98. As a reward for a great quarter, the company gave everyone a $50 gift card to a popular department store. One employee complained. He said the store was beneath his personal brand and asked if he could exchange it for cash to buy one very nice artisanal sock. 99. We've had every noise complaint imaginable. So here's one about too little of it. An employee complained the silence was oppressively quiet and demanded HR hire a live barista to stand in the corner and randomly shout names like a real coffee shop. Authenticity matters. 100. Reaching our century mark with a truly cosmic complaint. An employee who practiced numerology filed a grievance against the physical address of the company headquarters. The building number, he claimed, was numerologically unlucky and was cursing all of their projects to fail from the start. 101. And the number one most meta complaint ever recorded. An employee filed a formal complaint against the existence of the suggestion box itself. He argued that it inherently encourages negativity and dissent, and for true workplace harmony, it should be removed immediately. A complaint against complaining. Incredible. So, 101 reasons why the suggestion box should probably be set on fire. The sheer absurdity speaks for itself. But now, it's judgment time. I want you to pick just one complaint from this list. Which one is so unforgivably stupid that the employee should have been fired on the spot? No mercy. Go to the comments and make your case. If you enjoyed this descent into madness, destroy the like button and subscribe for more.